Go away. I know it's you, Venom. Just go away.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Rah! Spider-Man sucks.
Eddie, just go home. Hello everyone and welcome to my movie shelf. My name is Bane and today we're going to be going over the fact that I, like many others, think Venom should have been a horror-based franchise of films instead of the action/comedies that we got in its place. But first, check out a close-up of this Venom sweater I picked up at Wally's. I think it looks awesome, and the original style Venom pictures in the design are really cool. Plus it's a dope shade of blue that looks even better in person. Now when I think of Venom, I think of a big old bustling beast that still manages to achieve a level of agility and accuracy with his movement. He's designed this way to be a larger-than-life obstacle for our hero to overcome. The bigger the challenge it is to defeat him, the bigger the reward it is when our vigilante does stop the villain. He's a troubled, bitter, broken man wrapped in a deadly symbiote that latches onto his hate. This creature bonds with Eddie not only for survival, but due to their shared hatred of Peter Parker/Spider-Man. He may not be the worst of all the symbiotes, but he is far from being a heroic figure. So far, the two versions of the character we've got in live action are the one from Spider-Man 3 back in 2007, which Sony should forever be sorry for, but you know they're not. Even though this version was terrible, it could have been even worse. Just by looking at these production screen tests, we can see just how weird some of the ideas behind Topher's Brock actually were. The worst part is, there were moments that they tried to give him a threatening presence, like using the classic Venom shot of him looking down on his foes, but even that just couldn't be done to proper effect. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dear YouTube, let me just clarify, this is a foot, not whatever it looks like, it's his right foot. I swear to God, it's a foot. And then there's the Tom Hardy version, where Eddie Brock often acts like a drug addict that's part of some police buddy comedy. Though despite the disappointing direction they took with these movies, I don't entirely hate them like I do some other Marvel films. I just wish they made some different story decisions. Venom is the type of character that should feel like a threat to anyone he faces, whether it be the low-level criminals that happen to cross his path at night, or organized gangs with mercenaries and bosses. If we're supposed to believe he's a legitimate challenge for the web-slinger, even regular people should tremble at the sight of him, whether he means them harm or not. He needs to feel like a force to be reckoned with. I mean, he is a dangerous symbiote that Spider-Man found unsafe to even wear after all. Think back to the first Jurassic Park movie, when the big dangerous T-Rex was chasing down the Jeep trying to bust through the roof and kill them. The symbiotes should feel just as deadly, especially to anyone without powers or technology. Here, he just isn't menacing enough for how I personally think of the character. Okay, time for a serious yet random question. Where is Eddie Brock's head? So, if we look in this picture, we can see that his face is an inch, maybe two, away from Venom's teeth. So hypothetically, we should have an original TMNT situation, where we can either see his face whenever Venom opens his mouth, or the inner walls of his mouth would be extremely shallow to accommodate room for his head. Yet when they show us inside Venom's chompers, we can see down his throat, with no view of Eddie in any way, which doesn't make sense unless they went over this and I somehow missed it. Based off of the points we know from the motorcycle crash scene in the first movie, the symbiote can easily and quickly repair any broken bones or tissue that its host sustains. Does this mean then that every time he goes to suit up, the symbiote starts to detach all the bones and muscles of his neck, and once it begins the masking up part, it flips his head upside down somehow, or squishes it completely flat temporarily so we can see all the way down? I don't really know or care what's going on here. I just thought it was fun to theorycraft about. Where's Eddie's head, yo? And once again, I need to stress how I think he absolutely needs to come off as larger than life and a danger to all of those around him at all times. Imagine a darker, meaner version that isn't trying to be a decent person or vigilante all the time, that hunts down the criminals who get in his way, or just to feed, that chases them down into an alley only to emerge from the shadows when they least expect it. And if they weren't so afraid of trying to PG up the character so it can cross over with Spider-Man, they could actually get brutal with his attacks, leaving a bloody path to his unfortunate combatants. Instead, they wanted to make Eddie Brock a jittery mess and team him up with a symbiote that complains a lot and is afraid of other symbiotes. Cool. This honestly feels like a film made for laughs rather than one about a deadly alien looking for a host to bond with. But who am I to talk? And one of my favorite shows ever, Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s, they literally have Venom chasing down the webhead in a freight truck. Though it's also a kid's show, so it's a bit more understandable. Before we continue though, remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. But let me know in the comments, do you like the Venom movies as is, or would you have preferred that they leaned into the horror aspect like I do? Remember to subscribe, or the symbiote will make me watch Spider-Man 3 on repeat! On repeat! 3 shots I would like to see done in a more artistic way with the element of horror in mind are, firstly, Venom looking down on his prey, from up above in a dark alleyway, moments before he strikes. Secondly is the lightning shot, which is comprised of 3 visual layers. At the very back is a black night sky with maybe some barely visible clouds. The middle layer is the bright branching bolt of light that provides the separation to highlight all the features of our top layer, which is the dark color of his black symbiote suit. Our last shot is him standing over a battered and bruised Spider-Man. Even if it's only a short scene, just the quick visual alone would last forever in my mind. In the comics, they cover just how dark his world can seem at times, getting into deeper topics than we ever got, with some parts that look like something straight out of the movie Hannibal. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. This clearly isn't just some Saturday superhero fluff, as you can see for yourself. He's a character that has some complex hate issues, both on behalf of its host and its outer space guest. Plus, they barely even touched on what's possible between him and Carnage, once again leaning into the comedy of him being afraid of the Red One. I really didn't feel like I got the emotion of betrayal from Venom not wanting to be part of the symbiote family, or of him not giving in to the murderous urges they have. They really didn't feel like they had a meaningful history that would warrant the type of face-off a movie requires. I honestly think that they should have fought because Carnage, the mass murderer, killed Eddie's girlfriend, setting up a better reason for the conflict. Carnage never really gave me the impression he was anything to be overly worried about, which also kind of gives them absolutely no reason to need to bring in Spider-Man at some point in this potential trilogy. But at least he's going to be a villain in the new Insomniac Spider-Man game coming out, which if you don't want to hear any mild spoilers for, just go to the next chapter of the video now. It's going to be really new and different to see Harry Osborn take on the persona for a bit, which I like. But at some point in a future game or DLC, I really hope they do their own version of Mr. Brock too, because that would be pretty exciting also. Though what does the visual creator of the character, Todd McFarlane, think about what the game is doing? Talking to comicbook.com via gamerfragger.com, Venom creator Todd McFarlane was asked for his thoughts on Harry taking over the mantle in this video game sequel. I'm a fan. As the guy who created the visual look of Venom, I'm biased to it. 1, I think Venom is a villain, in my mind. I can't quite get my head wrapped around that he's a quasi-good guy. Will they go to that extreme? I don't know. My head always goes dark first, and then I bring a little bit of light on top of it. I just like those characters. The corporations sometimes when they go, oh yeah, we're going to make something dark, it's like 5% darker than it was before. That sure sounds like Todd is down for some horror as well. But that's just my own take on what he said. I'll link the article down in the description in case you personally want to go read it. But he's right. Instead of being true to what people think of the symbiote, they wanted to walk this line where he was some kind of dark avenger like another superhero we know. They wanted to pretend like it was scary while staying as close to PG as possible, so Disney wouldn't get upset when trying to make projects with him and Spider-Man, which made the stories almost feel like cheap comedies at moments for me, where I'm just waiting for them to drop in a laugh track for added effect. But before I leave you, who is someone I would like to give a chance to in a possible horror Venom franchise? Well, this is the part where everyone will most likely yell and disagree. But hey, we're saying it anyways. The person I would like to see get the opportunity is Topher Grace. Wait, that can't be right. Yes, Zac Efron. I know, but hear me out. For starters, the guy has the physique to show off the almost bodybuilder-like side of Eddie Brock, while also feeling plausible after suiting up. And if all you really know him for is being one of the dorks on High School Musical, know that recently he's really been trying to change his image like Robert Pattinson did a few years back, with some more serious roles like he's had in Gold and then in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, where he took on the role of serial killer Ted Bundy. I imagine an older Brock that's working for the Daily Bugle, who becomes frustrated with the success he sees the new young photographer Peter Parker is having, getting these quality shots of all the events going on across New York City, so that way, when Eddie is inevitably fired by Jameson, he can already have a grudge against Parker. Then, when he gets the symbiote himself, they'll be able to connect over their hatred for Peter and Spider-Man, while referring back to Brock's history with Parker and the suit's history with Spider-Man in an effort to get revenge for what they perceive as a wrongdoing. Look, I'm not saying Zach's the perfect fit for the film, I just see him out there trying with his role choices and wonder if he's capable and up for the task of such performance. But what do you think about Venom going horror? Could Zach have handled the role? And if not, who would you cast instead? Let me know down below. Anyways, thanks for watching, be well, and remember...
We're Venom.
Wait, who said that?